日にデートをしませんか？どこですか？マクドナルドですか？マクドはちょっとI love it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so, and again,
I like the hearts.
yeah, I love the hearts. And again, because the idiom is deito shimasu, my guess is that a native speaker, instead of asking doko desu ka, would be asking nani o shimasu ka? What shall we do? Okay, and then it would be Makudonado ni ikimasu, or ikimasen ka, since that's the structure you know right now. And then Makudo wa chotto. That definitely works.
That's when you go, you're a boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're asking someone on a first date, Makudo is probably not your best bet, right? Bring Fujiyama instead.
For the first, but you're probably not going to get a second.
Right, yeah.
I just want to feed food. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 何曜日にアメリカに帰りますか？水曜日に帰ります。That works. Okay. 何時にI think that was supposed to be 朝ごはん, but it says 朝ごはん.
Oh, dang it.
Okay, so we'll fix
Right.
朝ごは
I
ん
messed that
を
up, I think, twice.
食べましたか？何時に朝ごはんを食べましたか？and 食べ no 食べ
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. This morning's class also was very rusty after the break, so.
I
Okay,
feel like I had
食べましたか？ And then 7時 what particle goes here? 7時
It is ni.
Ni.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I had me and then I got up because I thought it was, well, and.
Okay. The way to think about it is, because it's time, it's ni, right?
Yeah.
If you were inserting the asagohan o, then you would have the o there,
Yeah.
okay? But just because you've got the verb tabemashita doesn't automatically mean there's going to be an o in the sentence, right? You have to have the direct object saying what you ate in order to take the o. Does that make sense?
So I had it as me first.
Yeah, you had it ni and then you corrected yourself
Yep.
wrongly.
Yep.
Oh well, it happens. Try to remember,
So it's always.
take a
someone
deep
that
breath
comes before
and
it.
trust your instinct.
So, but it's always someone that comes before it. That's important as far as.
Right, but what particle you put is a function of what kind of noun, because it's almost always a noun, came beforehand, and what function it's serving in the sentence. Because that's what grammar particles really are, is they are markers indicating the function of that part of the sentence that came before them. So ni, in this case, is marking the time at which something happened, right? O is marking the object getting eaten, right? Which in this case was asagohan, right? So if you don't have asagohan in the answer, you don't need the o in the answer either, because they went together. Okay? No problem. So, 日本語がわかりますか？ちょっとわかります。That works. Cool. Look at the vast variety of sentences and questions and answers you guys can make now. Have you thought about that at all? I mean, we started out with a, I, u, e, o, and now look. Here we are at the end of one semester, and look at how much you can do. Isn't that cool?
Apparently I'm going to Japan this summer.
What's that?
Apparently I'm going to Japan this summer because we're going on a cruise.
Wow! That's exciting. So you'll have 2 semesters.
My cousin's paying.
Oh, right.
Lucky you.
And you'll have 2 semesters of Japanese, so you'll be the interpreter.
And my
Oh, yeah, that's right, because your sister did it too. Okay.
She's
Is she still studying Japanese, or has she gotten rusty?
She like comes over, she's like, what's that? And I'm like, stop. And she's like, tries to read, she's like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. She leaves.
Tell her to review with you over the break and come take Japanese 2 together. No, seriously. She could audit, if she's already gotten credit for the course, they probably won't let her retake it for credit, but I think they would let her audit, probably, so she could try. And then she could get a refresher before you guys go to Japan. Hi.
Do you know what is going to be on the OPI?
Quick overview, let me,
Yeah, you'll do.
yes. Okay, quick overview of OPI content. Okay, actually, that's what we're gonna be talking about anyway. So one of them is, see here where we've got the, Schedule A, and the following page has, it'll be, Kakumijigo page. Kakumijigo page. So you've got one person who's got A schedule, and you've got the other person who's got B schedule. And the basic idea of this activity is the two of you trying to decide together on an activity that you can do together, and you're each busy on different days and different parts of the day. So you might find that, well, Monday doesn't work for me because I'm doing blah, blah, blah. What about Tuesday? And then the partner says, well, Tuesday's not great, you know, and then how about Wednesday? Well, I've got such and such to do Wednesday evening, but I've got time in the morning. Okay, let's do morning, you know, that kind of thing. So that's one thing that's going to be on the OPI. The map stuff that we've been doing is another piece where you're dealing with, you know, like, where's the post office?
Oh, like the thing also on Wednesday.
Yeah. So there's going to be a section like that, where you're trying to locate different things, and I'm going to have, they're going to be, both of those parts are going to be information gap type activities where you have your information but you don't have your partner's information and vice versa. So like, you might have Yubin Kyoku marked on your map, and your partner might have post office as number 1 on theirs that they have to ask about on their little list. So they might ask you, Yubin Kyoku wa doko desu ka? And then you look at your little map and you figure out, oh, okay, it's next to the restaurant or whatever. So you tell them, restaurant no tonari desu. And so then they have to look at their map and, oh, Yubin Kyoku was number 1. They told me it's next to the restaurant. Okay, there's the restaurant. Put a little number 1 on the page. So you're actually going to have a little half sheet of paper that you're going to be writing on, labeling where things go, so that you're showing me comprehension of what you were told also. Okay, so it's going to be listening comprehension as well as speaking ability that you're getting tested on with that part. Okay. Same thing kind of goes for the schedule stuff, because you're asking, you know, whether or not the other person has free time on a particular day, and then based on their response, you have to decide what you're going to say next, right? So you've got those 2 activities, and then the third thing is going to be just sort of free-form questions, similar to some that we're going to practice in a little bit. Okay, so that's kind of the format of the OPI, 3 basic segments. Asking and answering about locations of things, asking and answering about schedule, and then sort of random whatever question you want to make up to ask your partner and vice versa kind of stuff. And I think there's 5 locations for each map listed, but I don't think we're going to do all 5 on the OPI because I want us to have time for the other stuff too. So we'll probably do like maybe 2 or 3 locations per partner on the maps, and then we'll do a little dialogue about schedule, and then we'll flesh it out with a couple of other random questions that you guys ask each other. Question?
I do have a question. If I'm doing the 2 OPIs, and then you said there would be like an average, but in the weird, probably unlikely event that I do even worse on the second one, could I just take the better grade?
I'll think about that. Okay. It hasn't come up until now, so,
I don't know why it would,
yeah,
but,
yeah. You're afraid that you'll be so nervous that you'll flub it the second time through.
something like that, I guess.
Okay. We'll see. Okay. So, let's see. Okay, so last class, did we already do part B at the top of page 124? Okay, so we're up to the Makume no Renshi, right? Okay, so this one is practicing one of the kinds of questions you could ask your partner on the OPI, which is when you were a child or when you were in high school, did you often do blank? Okay, so, and then they're gonna answer with, yes, I often did, or no, I hardly ever did, or no, I never did, or yes, I did that every day, or whatever the case may be, right? Okay, and for those of you who are still technically in high school, let's just pretend that you've already graduated so that we can practice the past tense, because it's gonna confuse your partner if one person is like, wait a minute, I'm still in high school, we can't do past tense for this, and the other person's gonna be going, freak out.
Can I pretend I'm still in high school? And wish I never left.
Aww.
That'd be awkward, actually.
Yeah, it would be awkward now. You're better off just,
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Roasted.
So you don't use me for these phrases?
right, you don't use ni with these because they're frequency adding verbs. Okay, so yoku, mainichi, taitei, tokidoki.
I meant with the kodomo no toki.
Oh, kodomo no toki also does not normally take ni, that's true. Okay, it very often just takes a comma or a pause in context, in real life. Okay, so is everybody clear on what we're doing with these? Okay, would it be helpful to have the first pair read the examples before we move on? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, who wants to start? Tori? Okay, so Tori A and Sarah B.
このなん
Kodomo no toki.
はい We have
Yeah, and you've got the choice, kodomo no toki or koukou no toki, and then yoku.
okay. I was thought we were on B instead of
Oh, okay, yeah, we're still on A.
心の時を
Yoku,
よく
hon.
本を読みましたか
いえ、あまり読みませんでした。
でした。
でした。
はい。いいですね。じゃあ1番どうぞ。
ここの時よく勉強します
しましたか Remember, we're just gonna keep it in past tense, okay?
勉強
高校の時。Yeah.
勉強します
しましたか
はい。よく勉強しましたか？
しました。
しました。
はい。じゃあ2番どうぞ。
高校の時よくスポーツをしましたか？
I'm sorry, I'm just,
Do you need help understanding
No,
the
no, I'm
question
just-
or
I'm-
formulating?
I don't know, it would almost be better if I just left the class. Right now, my brain's not functioning and just try to do something on another time.
So the question was, did you often play sports in high school? So do you want to answer with a yes or a no, and I'll help you through it?
Yeah, so,
Yeah, amari,
gosh, I'm sorry. Amari,
and then just the negative past verb, so shimasen.
shimasen deshita.
There you go,
Yeah.
that's it. Okay, じゃあ3番, try to form the question.
Okay. 映画を、sorry.
Basically,
Yeah,
it's a substitution thing, so you can start with kodomo no toki. That's okay.
No, I'm gonna go. I'm sorry. I'm just having like a weird moment. I apologize.
Okay. You wanna try that question, Audrey?
高校の時よく映画を見ましたが、
時々見ました。
はい、いいですね。Okay, じゃあ4番。
子供の時、よく公園に来ました。
時々に行きました。
Just 時々。
あ、時々行き
行きまし
ましたた。
Yeah. Since it's a frequency adverb, it
Yeah,
doesn't take
yeah.
me.
Alright.
じゃあ5番。
高校の時、よく手紙を書きました。
書きましたか
Yeah, 書きまし
書きましたか I didn't hear
た。
you
I
say the
was
ka.
saying it. but
Okay,
we're-
I didn't hear it.
So yeah, so 高校の時、よく手紙を書きましたか。
There you go. Do you need help understanding the question? Yeah, 手紙を
Does
書
it
き
write
ました。
letters?
Yes, yeah, so did you often write letters when you were in high school?
Yeah, 全然、trying to remember the.
Okay, well, the ending is right there in the box, at the bottom there, then,
Oh.
kakima,
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you. So, yeah, 全然、kawakimasen deshita.
there you go.
I was like.
Yeah,
worried.
you're trying to remember it and it's right there.
Thank you.
Okay, じゃあ6番どうぞ。
子供の時でwhat?
Just think about the content of what you're suggesting for a second. 子供の時、よくデートをしました。
Started loud, yeah. Really hard. I totally did.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I was gonna keep it collected,
Yeah.
but you started giggling, and I was like, oh no, oh no.
I was It's waiting only for downhill from here.
I was just like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So-
there.
like
What do you
I
want?
don't imagine Chantal's dad putting up with that.
No. I tuned out for the first 2 seconds and I heard it, I went, what's going on now?
It's
So you
on
might
the
wanna switch
paper.
that to koukou no toki, which is probably why they gave you both options, partly for that one.
Unless you were like 7.
Oh, okay, sorry. Alright. I got this. Koukou no toki.
Yoku.
Thank you. Koukou no toki yoku date shimashita ka.
Hi, that's much better.
Less awkward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tokidoki shimashita.
Hi, you just net. Okay, yeah. Otherwise, it's just a little weird.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh, gosh. That's what happens when you just kind of go by rote without thinking about what you're saying
Yep.
first. Okay, so the next section, go ahead and ask question number 1 from part B.
Mainichi nanji ni okimasu ka?
7時に起きます。
Hi. And if you want to, you can add a frequency adverb still. So for example, taipei, kichiji ni okimasu would be usually I wake up at 7. Because there are probably occasional days when you get to sleep in later or have to wake up earlier, right? So you can add a gurai if you want to, taipei, or not a gurai, a goro, shichiji goro okimasu. You know, usually at around 7 because maybe you don't wake up at 7 on the dot every time, you know. But those are all options. You don't have to add those, but you could. Okay, you have to.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, well, some people wake up by an alarm and some people hit snooze button a couple of times and, you know.
My snooze button's too long, so I have to use like 5 alarms.
My snooze button is a dog. I don't have a choice.
Just put the dog outside and then go back to sleep.
And they just keep going. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake
Yeah.
up.
Unless you
wake
own a
up, wake
cat,
up.
then it's just
If
like,
I don't wake up, they keep doing
like
it.
a weird
Yeah.
scratch on Like- the door, like,
Yeah, my kids are kind of the same way.
all night.
If I don't wake up soon enough, they'll come
Yeah.
bounce
That's
on me.
It's even worse.
Yeah, okay, so Niban, okay, whose turn is it to ask the question? Dozo.
大抵何時間後ぐらい寝ますか？
Nemaska, yeah.
12時います。
12時間, really? You sleep for 12 hours every night?
Oh, yeah.
You wish.
I wish. Nana.
Okay, so shichiji kan.
Yeah, 7時間。寝ます。
Hi, shichiji kan nemasu. And again, if you want to add taipei or gurai to make it usually and approximately, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Shichiji kan nemasu. Right, じゃあ3番. Go ahead and ask that question.
毎日何時間勉強します。
いえ、全然勉強しませんですか？ません。
Okay.
あ、
Okay, so it's asking how many hours a day do you study?
I'm gonna say
You
none
want to
all.
say none, so
At all.
全然勉強しません。
Okay, there we go. 全然勉強しません。
じゃあ4番。
That's how I get where I am today. Summary. よく。
誰
Oh yeah, I was like, why? For some reason, I could not recognize that day. Okay. 誰と昼ご飯を食べますか？よく弟と昼ご飯を食べます。
あ、いいですね。じゃあ5番どうぞ。
よく友達にメールをしますか？あ、
よ
it's just like a weird sentence.
Yeah, do
Try
you
to do that in
often
English. Do you
email
do
your friends?
email? It's like-
Do you do email with your friends?
Okay.
Or to your friends, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. Well, not everybody does a lot of emailing anymore these days. For some people, it's all like Facebook and Instagram and
Yeah,
stuff
I mean,
like
it's-
that.
More Skype for me.
Yeah.
Close enough. So 先週スポーツをしましたか？
全然しませんでした。
はい、いいですね。じゃあ7番どうぞ。
昨日どこで晩ご飯を食べましたか？
Which do you think it would say?
昨日どこで晩ご飯を食べましたか？
Do you need help picking apart the sentence?
My brain is saying, when do I eat phone numbers?
Okay,
And that's
okay,
not-
so that's obviously
something's
not
not
it.
correct.
Yeah,
No,
okay,
that's
so
not what I said.
kino is
Kino, when?
yesterday. Okay. Doko de is
Where?
where, good. Ban gohan, not to be confused with denobango. Ban gohan,
Bongo, okay, that's where I got it.
yeah,
That's where I got that wrong thing.
yeah.
Okay,
The ban that caught ya.
that's, dinner.
Dinner, right? So ban gohan o tabemashita ka. So yesterday, where did you eat dinner? Makes more sense now, right?
Yeah. Uchide tabemasu.
Uchide,
Uchide tabemashita.
はい、いいですね。はい、じゃあ8番どうぞ。
Oh God.
Tiny print, 先週、
That's what it is?
yeah,
Alright. Senshu,
More than text.
写真、
Senshu. Senshu, Sashin, o,
Takusan,
yeah, sorry, my brain's not working right now.
yeah.
Senshu, Sashin, Shashi,
写真、写
Shashi.
いや写真
Senshu,
を
Shashin, o, Takusan,
撮り
Tori,
ま
Tori.
したか。はい、先週写真をたくさん撮りましたか。
What can I read right now?
Okay, but do you get what it's asking?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I get what it's doing? Doesn't matter if I get it. Go.
That's-
I'll get it.
いえ、たくさん取りませんでした。
Okay, はいいいですね。That works very well. You did not take a lot of photos last week. Okay.
昨日は何曜日でしたか？
So it's can you do
昨日は月曜日でした。
はい、昨日は月曜日でした。Perfect. 質問がありますか？ Any questions about those? So those are just a few examples of the kind of free-form questions you guys are now capable of.
Yeah.
So rather than giving you a list of questions to ask, what you're gonna have is a prompt sheet, kind of like we had in the last OPI, where there's reminders of, you know how to say all these different kinds of time phrases and all these different kinds of places and all these different kinds of direct objects and all these different kinds of verbs. So go for it, make your own sentence, make your own question, okay? So these are certainly good examples, and I would suggest that you practice not only asking and answering these questions, but also making up more in a similar vein, kind of get creative, kind of like we did with the warm-up exercise. This warm-up exercise was kind of like a prep for the practice coming up with a question, and then practice coming up with an answer, right? Difference being that when you're working with a partner, you don't know what question your partner might decide to ask you, or what question you're gonna wanna ask them. Of course, you can practice ahead of time, but, they might, out of the blue, decide, I'm not gonna ask the one I thought of first, because I can't remember it right now. I'm gonna ask them the fifth one that I came up with. So,
I just waited.
yeah,
That's what I
Okay.
waited.
question.
The thing on 127, the
Right.
days, months, et
Yes,
cetera,
the useful expressions.
is that gonna be on
That is
this
not
test?
on the test, it is more of a reference sheet for now. Some of that content is going to come back up again next semester and will be required at that point. For now, the days of the week and the names of the months, I think, are reasonable for me to expect you guys to know, because the months are pretty straightforward, right? The dates for the days of the week, 1 through 31, some of them are really odd. Once you get past 10, 11 and upwards, most of them are fairly normal, but there are still a few odd ones in there. So I'm not requiring you to know those right now, but what I do want you to notice is that they're all really easy to write in kanji, because they're just the number and the same nichi that's the first kanji and the last kanji in nichiobi. So it doesn't matter whether you're talking about, that's Nikka. This is 21 nichi. But you know the numbers, you know the nichi kanji, you can write all the dates. Okay? We don't know the kanji yet for year, so I'm not expecting you to be able to write complete dates yet. But just so you know, if you were writing it vertically, for example, then like that, and then just, say, I'm just doing a random date here. But if you were trying to do the date April 3rd, 2006, that's one possible way it could look, okay? Or that's a way it could look. They actually will use circles for zeros sometimes, especially for the 2000s kind of dates, because it's just obnoxious to have to write the kanji for zero, because it's an obnoxious kanji.
Can't see it? Everyone else sees it.
Japanese people don't use it very much.
So many strokes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you can see why a lot of Japanese people don't even remember how to write it anymore.
No.
They recognize it when they read it, but most of them can't write it.
So ridiculous.
China still uses it, that's why I'm stuck with it.
But it goes like this, same like larger to smaller dates of any
Yeah,
year, month,
so
day.
it goes year, month, day, and then day of the week would be after that if they're gonna list it also.
Okay.
So like things like diplomas, very often we'll list the whole thing. And we'll actually use the kanji more often. If it's a really official document, all done up nicely in Japanese calligraphy, very often they will put the date fully in kanji. Hmm?
Is your diploma like that?
I don't have a Japanese diploma, but I do have some Japanese certificates and things, and I forget if the dates are fully in kanji or not. They might be, I don't remember. I don't have any of them on the wall at the moment, they're all kind of just stuck in storage. But at any rate, so the other thing that's sort of useful to know but not required at this point is this whole chart that goes from day before yesterday through day after tomorrow, and then equivalents for week, month, and year. I just think it's cool that they actually have words for those expressions where we have whole phrases. The year before last, it's not a single word in English, but in Japanese, ototoshi. Easy to say, relatively easy to remember.
What says the year before last? I realized it's 2 years ago.
Yeah. But isn't that neat that they actually have vocabulary for all of that? I just think that's cool. And once you know the kanji for a lot of them, there's some consistency, there's some patterning there, which is helpful. Not everywhere, but a lot of it. So like the sen in senshu and sengetsu, it's the same sen. It means before. The kon in konshu and kongetsu and kotoshi is also in kyo, which if you look at the kanji for kyo, it can also be read konnichi, as in konnichiwa. Same two kanji. So I like that stuff. I think it's cool to learn that stuff. When you know those kanji already, the meaning of it makes so much sense. You know, so like Saraishu is literally again coming week. You know, and Saraigetsu, same thing, again come month. And Sarainen, again come year. You know, so there's, like I said, there's some logic to some of it that I find fun. Anyway, let's look at our pair work activity next. Okay, so we've got even numbers of people. So the idea here is, oh, you're leaving too?
The timing
Never
is
mind.
terrible. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Let's look at the example to start with. So, who wants to read A of the example? Shira-san. Okay, who wants to read B? Jarrett? Oh, well,
But then do it because it.
okay, because it's in order. Okay, goes up.
Oh gosh, this word.
Hi, badminton.
Why this word? I couldn't have used tennis. Okay. しませんか? いいですね。月曜日はどうですか? 月曜日は図書館で勉強します。火曜日は There's no answer.
There's no answer. So let's stop there for a moment. Okay, so if you're looking at Schedule A, you can see that Kayobi, she's got a conflict, right? If you're looking at Schedule B, you can see the study in the library was on Getsuyobi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you see how it works? Now, for the OPI, it doesn't have to be badminton, okay? It could be whatever activity you want to suggest to your friend. Okay, so for example, in my morning class, one pair decided they wanted to practice with kaimono or shimasen ka. You know, shall we go shopping? And then they worked on trying to find a date for that. Do you see what I'm saying? So in the OPI also, it doesn't really matter what activity you want to suggest. If, you know, you want to suggest playing tennis, if you want to suggest playing video games, if you want to suggest going to the library to study for the final, you know, whatever activity you want to suggest, you invite the other person. They hopefully say yes to your suggestion, or maybe they don't. Maybe they say, you know, Tosokan wa chotto, about your suggestion of going to study in the library together. And then you have to come up with a different idea. じゃあ、喫茶店で勉強しませんか? And then, いいですね。スターバックスに行きましょう。You know, and then you go from there maybe. はい。
They don't have any of like the same day off, so are
are they just like suggestions for you to look at to go, okay, when am I free? Like
It's-
disregarding
It-
if they're free.
Two options. One is you could disregard the printed schedules and just go off of your actual schedule and your partner's actual schedule, if you prefer. Or you can assume that although there's something on every one of these dates for one person or the other, some of them are not all-day activities. So for example, you've got dinner at a friend's house on Thursday for B, but they don't have to spend all day at their friend's house. But then again, the other person has a part-time job on Thursday, so that might not be a good day to choose. But then you look at Wednesday, they're shopping in town, but maybe, depending on what it is that your pair is planning, maybe after shopping or before shopping could work. Or, you know, the night that somebody has a date on Friday, maybe Friday morning works for that person. You know, are they really going to be showering and getting dressed for their date all day long? Probably not. So,
I mean, no, of course not.
Yeah.
It's like back to, you know,
Also,
yeah,
I
we
will.
do that. I will use, if someone tells me like, do you want to do something this day at this time, I will use my entire allotted time to like mentally prepare myself. You guys do that? Like, you know, it's like, I'm gonna do something today, I have to like do nothing all day in order to be ready to do something.
Oh, okay.
Does anyone-
I'm like, I'll do something, and then I'm like, okay, I'll do like one small thing, and I'm done for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Different people have different
I
levels
multitask way
of-
too much, that's impossible.
I can't, I have to.
I don't have that kind of free time.
Yeah, neither do I, but. But you guys get the idea, right? So that's, the way the OPI is set up is that you guys can kind of do what you want for the schedule. You're gonna get a picture of a little notepad schedule like this. One of you will get one that's like A and the other one will get B. But that doesn't mean that you have to strictly stick to that. If you really want to go off script and work based on your real schedule and your friend's real schedule, you can just tell me, we're gonna do it our own way instead of using the script.
Is there a certain amount of questions we have to ask each other?
We're going for a total of 10 questions.
Okay.
So if
each.
you've done like 2 apiece of the directions, that's 4. So maybe another 2 or 3 apiece on the scheduling, and then a couple more of the free-form ones, you know, something like that. So, you know, as long as it adds up to you've asked at least 5 questions and you've answered at least 5 questions. You know, and if it goes a little over, as long as we're not out of time, I can let it go a little over if you guys are kind of on a roll and I want to let you finish what you started. But, yeah, the basic plan is I've got 10 spots for scoring for each person. So, and then I've got places on the paper where you will actually be writing down, you know, like if you ask where's the bank, and bank is number 2 on your little list of English places to ask about, and you ask your friend where's the bank and they tell you it's across from the hotel, Hotel Nomaides, then you look on your little map, okay, there's the hotel, okay, number 2 on the bank building. Okay, but like I said, we probably won't do all of the numbers of those maps, so you'll be able to pick and choose a couple from the options that are listed. It doesn't have to be just do numbers 1 and 2. If we're only doing 2 apiece, you know, if you'd rather do 3 and 5, that's fine. You know, if those are the ones that you can remember how to say, you've drawn a blank on some of the other words.
Everyone left me.
I know, you're all
Yeah,
the way
in
in the
this
front
row.
row.
Good time. I realized I was like, well,
Yeah, feeling you isolated, Odie?
everyone in the back row is there, but
Yeah.
I,
Just
what did
They're
I
all
do
left
wrong?
like 15 minutes apart.
Yeah. anyway, so what do you guys want to work on right now? Because we've got a few minutes left. Do you want to do a little bit more of the pairword practice, or do you want to look at kanji for a little bit?
Kanji.
Kanji, yeah. We
Okay.
haven't done any of that, like,
Yeah, we haven't really looked at kanji very much this chapter. So, first question, does anyone have any questions or concerns about how to write any of the kanji for this lesson? The yo, okay, let's break that one down. Yeah, I think my morning class did that, and for some reason we never got to it with you guys, so.
Like sometimes I can get it, and then other times I just have to like walk away from it because I'm like, it's not
It's just
doing it.
not working for you, huh? Okay, so you remember your radicals? Okay, so it starts with Nichi, right? The sun radical. And then you remember katakana, I hope, right? So katakana yo, twice. Small. Okay? And then you remember your short-tailed bird, the craziest little radical you ever had to learn? So that one starts with the person side radical, right? And then when you're handwriting it, the little top line usually goes this direction, even though the print font goes the other direction. And then in the Japanese textbook, they actually do the first horizontal, and then I believe they do the vertical,
Yeah.
and then 2, 3 cross pieces.
Okay.
can you do one more time? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just
I'm going to actually break it up apart. So this is first.
Yeah.
Okay, that's second. Okay.
The thing is, the stroke order is what I'm trying to see, and I can't see it.
Okay.
It's also,
Are you good bone stroke order up to here?
yeah, just,
Okay. Okay, because I'm going to show you.
oh, I see what you're doing, okay.
Sorry. Okay, this is going to take a while.
Drop a pirate's specifically.
Aww.
I'm too short for this.
No, now we are abandoned.
Ah,
I didn't even leave my chair.
that's sad.
Is that like my shirt?
Yes.
I
Okay.
I remember
So-
that one.
Okay, does that help a little bit? Now, does anybody know that they actually do that in the book?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Oh, look, it is.
Look at that.
I was gonna say that before you did it. Like I was just like, no, it's.
Okay, the other thing that the book doesn't do for you that I'm gonna do for this a little bit is directionality of the stroke. That's what's missing from the textbook. So for example, this stroke goes this way, okay? And then this stroke is like that, this stroke is like that, and then these are all left to right. Basic stroke order rules are 99% of the time left to right and top to bottom, okay? The exception being some of the diagonal strokes that go upwards, like the hook in sheet, okay? So there are occasional ones that go from the bottom up. They're rare, so you don't have to worry about it that often. I don't think we have any this chapter, or last chapter for that matter, that go from the bottom up.
About
Okay.
directionality, for
Yes.
the ue kanji, is the smaller stroke on like near the top and out, like towards the right outward stroke?
Yeah. Yeah, so they're all, you know, it's down and then both of those are like that. Okay? So the order of which line is when is shown in your book. And if you remember left to right and top to bottom, that gives you 99% of the direction on the strokes. Okay? Some of the other ones that are a little bit odd or counterintuitive, Mizu and Ka. And the Ka from Kyobi and Sui from Suyobi, also known as Mizu, when it's a standalone. Mizu follows the rule of center before two symmetrical sides, even though it's not truly symmetrical. So you actually draw the center line first. The left side is like a katakana fu. Okay, it's actually all one piece. And then that stroke is a standalone stroke, and it is on a diagonal, but it's still top to bottom, right? It starts at the higher point. And then this stroke also starts at the higher point, even though it's the opposite direction. You see what I'm saying? So it still follows the top to bottom rule in that sense. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's Mizu. Ka kind of breaks the center before two symmetrical sides rule because you actually do side, side first. Again, top to bottom, and then you put the hito through the center. Okay, so it's exactly the opposite of what you would expect in terms of stroke order, but the direction of the lines is still top to bottom for all four lines. Okay, does that help?
The book writes the left like slash like the other way.
That again is a print font.
All right,
This is handwritten style.
I got it.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where I wish they would have given you a handwritten form as well as the print font, but they didn't in this particular book. There are books out there that actually show you a handwriting style alongside the normal print font, so that you can see the contrast between a print style and a handwriting style. Because the print fonts are mostly based off of a calligraphy style. And when you're writing with a calligraphy pen, things come out differently than when you're writing with a regular
I
pen.
mean, isn't it like a brush?
Yeah, it's a brush. Japanese calligraphy pens are a round paintbrush, basically. They're a round stalk, and the bristles are set rounded, not a flat thing or whatever. And they come to a very sharp tip, very sharp point, which is literally like one or two strands at the very tip sometimes. And, you know, so it comes to a real tip. And when you write with that, you have a very stiff posture like this with your hand. This is the hold for a calligraphy brush traditionally. And you write with it like this, where your elbow is up so that your wrist and elbow kind of make a line parallel to the page and never touch the page or the table at all. And there's like this much of the pen below your wrist.
Do they rest it on
Just-
something or just?
No, just up here. Strong arm. Yeah, and it's for control. That you have to have fluidity and control as you're doing calligraphy. And they start beginners off with traceable characters, where you actually like have a hollow character and you have to try to fill it in just right. And then over time they give you copyable ones, where you just have to copy what it looks like and try to reproduce what it looks like on grid paper. So you've got like grid lines to help guide you as to the proportionality. And then only after you've put in hundreds of hours of practice copying do you get to try to do it freeform without looking first.
It's a lot of hours.
Yeah. Most Asian people who are really seriously good at calligraphy, they started when they were yay tall and they've been doing it their whole lives.
Huh.
Yeah. So, you know, as a Westerner dabbling, you can enjoy it, you can have fun with it. You're never going to have Japanese people going, wow, you're so good at calligraphy. You know, or if they do, it's the it's the same vein as, wow, look at you, you can use chopsticks, isn't that great? You know, it's like the pat on the head, oh, look at the cute gaijin trying to do foreign stuff.
We never say, oh, you can use a fork and knife so well.
Yeah,
So,
but Japanese people tend to be like, not everybody, but some of them tended to be sort of amazed that I could use hashi. And I'm like, what's the big deal?
is that chopsticks?
Yeah, chopsticks, hashi. And I'm like, I've been using them since I was 10, what's the big deal? You know,
It's
but
not that hard.
Yeah.
And calligraphy is much harder.
calligraphy is way
The
harder.
xenophobia is
Like,
still
just
that
in
much of a
general,
thing.
like even
Yeah.
like English calligraphy. My
Yeah.
sister started doing it.
Culturally speaking, Japan is so homogeneous that there's still a lot of people